Hey, soul seekers, it's intuitive energy guide Kathy Weiss here. Welcome to this week's episode of Monday Messages. I am coming to you live from my reading room here on the central coast of California, and this is the guidance and channel messages and clarity and directions that you need for the week of April 22nd, 2019, or any time. So if you're catching this video and it isn't the week of April 22nd, that don't hit the pause button, stay with it because there's definitely going to be some information and some guidance in here that you need to hear. So, today's episode of Monday Messages is all about bees and bee spirit and bee symbolism. And a little bit deeper than that, it's really going to be about duality. And duality is when two separate ideas or thoughts or feelings that seem to be completely opposite or contradictory are existing at the same time. And I'm going to go a little bit deeper into that in my weekly newsletter. So if you haven't subscribed to that newsletter, you can do that on my website at kathy-weiss.com. And as a little bonus treat, when you subscribe to my newsletter, you get a free mini reading. So it's kind of like a little bit of a win-win. And I will make sure to drop the link where you can subscribe to my newsletter in the comments after we're done with the live feed. So as we jump into today's episode, if you do have any questions or comments, put them down here so I can respond to you. Even if you're watching this later, I always go back and try to catch all of the comments as they come in. So again, we're going to talk a little bit about duality, two things existing at the same time. So as a clairvoyant and a source energy channel, I have the ability to read your individual energy and deliver the messages and the guidance and the direction that you need one-on-one. Then I also have the ability to feel and read the collective energy or what's going on for a lot of us or for most of us at any given time. And when I do that, that's what I would call channeling. It's more when I get quiet and still and I tune into source energy and I hear what needs to be said or understood by a lot of us. And that's what Monday Messages is all about. So know that the most of what we're talking about today is going to be collective energy, but there's still going to be a couple little hints and bits and pieces that are for some individual as well. Okay, so one thing that's always really interesting is when I sit down for Monday Messages or I sit down to do channeling, sometimes I get messages days, weeks, and even months in advance. And some days it's Monday morning and I have no idea what we're going to talk about in a couple of hours, but I just trust that it's going to come through. And this morning it was like you all just came in loud and clear and strong. And so I always trust that even if I don't know the topic right away, you guys are going to provide it for me as I read the collective energy. So as I get into the messages, here's what happens. When I channel, I have to write things down so that I remember them because the information flows through me and it doesn't stick. As I get into today's messages, you're going to see me glancing off to the side at my notebook. That's just so I stay on track and don't sort of wander off because I can sometimes start to pick up things as we're going through the messages. So right away, what happened today when I sat down for today's messages is I heard like over and over and over, bee sting, bee sting, bee sting. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. And the first thing I wanted to do was refresh myself on bee symbolism. So when we talk about spirit animals and spirit guides, what we're doing is using the nature of a certain type of animal to help us make meaning and understand our own lives or put it in a different perspective. So what bees symbolize, there's a handful of things. They symbolize community, brightness, personal power, industry and hard work. And that industry and hard work creates a collective community that generates abundance, right? It takes a whole bunch of bees to support the hive and create the honey. And it's each individual bee doing their work and providing what they're meant to provide to support everyone. So there is with bee symbolism and beehives both individual and collective effort. And there's that duality. It's like, well, how is there both? But there has to be. It can't be one or the other. It has to be both existing at the same time. And what this message is coming through for you for this week specifically, guys, this is really like all about right now, the next 5 days. Put your head down and be self sufficient. Be focused on your goals and your life's purpose and work with others to achieve it. But the biggest part is you have to do your part and you can't be waiting for other people in order for you to do your part. You've just got to go out there and tackle it and take care of business, right? But then also know to communicate and rely on the other people in your team, whether it's like a work team or at home or your friendships, where what their part is and let them do their part so that you come together for a really strong collective result. Okay, it says now is not the time of the Lone Ranger. So there are times when we've just got to put our head down and do our thing and ignore everybody else, but that's not what this is about this week. This week is about working in harmony with those who help you, but recognize your part. Right? There are times when we completely rely on others to do all the things and we don't do anything. And there are times when we're doing all the things and nobody else is helping us. It's not either or this week, it's both. And that's why bee symbolism is coming up so strongly. So, for example, when women work with me one on one in private intuitive energy guidance sessions, I give them so much information. I give them not only the description of what's going on in their energy and the channeled healing messages that they need, I'm giving them really pragmatic, like, here's the direction you need to head in, and here are the exact things you need to do. But guess what? It's up to them to do the work, right? We all have free will. And so the only way that working together can be successful is if each person does their part, right? So if I provide guidance and clarity and direction for someone and they don't follow it, the results aren't going to be there. So it's about taking that individual responsibility. And let me tell you guys, the women who I work with regularly who take that guidance and that direction and they like start applying it and getting things done, wow, lives are rocketing off in new, strong, exciting, healthy, more satisfying directions. But here's the deal, and this is where duality of bee symbolism comes back in. It's not just that individual and collective effort, because remember, right at the top of this message, I said what it started with was the words bee sting. And hearing that prompted me to check out what bee symbolism is all about. And that was meant to be part of the message. But the other half of the message is actually about bee stings and the symbolism of bee stings in our lives. And this one I'm hearing like super important. And I'm getting distracted a little bit. This has been happening all morning. I'm hearing the name Suzette or Suzanne, and you hear my wind chimes going off out there, and they often come in as affirmation. So either if your name is Suzette or Suzanne, or you know someone, this part is going to be especially relevant. So this is again where I was like collective energy, individual energy. And if you don't know someone, Suzette or Suzanne, that's okay. This is still going to be super relevant. I'm just hearing really loud and clear there is a very specific individual that this piece of information came up for as well. And so again, if you get my newsletter where Monday Messages gets delivered to your email, you might even just forward that to someone if you know that this part of the message relates to them. So it says, be careful. Some bee stings are harmless and others can be fatal. Is there someone in your hive or your tribe delivering multiple stings? No human can survive multiple attacks. It's sort of like the phrase death by 1,000 paper cuts or death by 1,000 bee stings, right? This is really metaphorical to an energetic or a verbal attack. We can only be attacked so many times before it becomes fatal to our energy, before it becomes fatal to our health, before it becomes fatal to us confidently fulfilling our life's purpose and our soul mission. And this warning is for only some of us, okay? So if this doesn't apply to you, again, stick with me because there's more coming, but this part is just for some of us. And it's really important, guys. Listen carefully. Is it time to ask someone to leave your hive or your tribe? Or do you need to seek out a new tribe? Okay, it says you can do this. It only takes willingness, effort, and awareness of your inner landscape. Tune into yourself with full honesty. I know this can be hard when we're in a situation where someone is repeatedly attacking us, to have the clarity of, am I allowing it? Am I brushing it off? Am I saying, oh, it's just them, whatever? So you really have to tune in to full honesty and let yourself be alone if you need to, and see this as an ebb and a flow in your see this ebb and flow as nourishment for yourself. So if you need to really separate yourself out from a lot of people to get clear and to understand this, do that for a little bit of time. People will come back in, but you need to really nourish yourself and um, protect yourself from those multiple stings, is what we're calling that action today. Oh, and I get to tell you a quick story. It says in my notes to tell you a quick story about when I was living alone right before I met my husband. So I was really at like the lowest place of my own life at the age of about 27, 28, and for the first time in my life was living completely alone. Um, and in that time, not only was I like living alone, I was really not spending a lot of time with other people. It was like get up, go to work, come home. I was working on a master's degree, so I would come home and study, or I would go to work and then go to school. And on the weekends, I was sitting down and doing homework and studying, and I was really alone for big chunks of time. And when I did have free time, I was sitting down and reading some really great self-help books and trying to understand more about myself and more about the previous situation with an ex-boyfriend that had caused a lot of doubt and uncertainty in my mind as to my self-worth and my self-value. Um, and so it was about like removing myself from all of that so that I could nourish and heal and understand myself and be able to move back out into the world. And like I tell you guys, the moment I was ready, it was like, ka-chow, there's my husband standing in line at the grocery store, which is a story for a whole different time. But the point of the story is you've got to, for some of us, we're getting attacked in multiple ways, and it's beginning to damage us in a way that will make us feel like we can't survive. And you're being asked to really honestly take a look at that. And if you need to, pull back from people. You may not necessarily need to go live in your own place like I was in order to do that, but you can certainly decline more invitations or plan more alone time into your day to get a better sense of what it is that you need in your hive or in your tribe, right? As we go into the bee symbolism, it's like, who's in your hive and how are they helping and supporting you? Because you want your tribe of people or your hive of people, whether it is work, home, friendship, whatever, you want those people to be able to collectively support you as you do your individual work. And as you do your individual work, you are collectively supporting your hive or your tribe. So what we're going to do now is pull an oracle card from the Spirit Animal Oracle deck. And I have shuffled this deck, and I'm going to shuffle it again in front of you guys because, you know, we're talking about bee spirit, and I will probably pretty much like freak out if we pull a bee spirit card. I don't think we're going to. quite honestly. And if you're just jumping in, I would invite you after the live feed is over to go back and watch the replay because we've been saying some pretty cool things about bees and duality and all that good stuff. So I am shuffling the deck again, and I gave it a really, really good shuffle right before we started. And I don't know if you guys saw, but cards are jumping out all over the place on me. So when a card jumps out of the deck, I know that that's the card that we're meant to use. And I'm going to use the one that jumped out. And I'm also going to cut the deck and pull one more card out for us today. So yay, it's like a bonus day. We're going to get two cards instead of one. And I'm taking, oh, sorry, let me bring it back on camera so you can see. That's only fair. I am taking the card right off of the top of the deck for the second card. So the first card is Koi Fish Spirit, and it says, there is always enough. Now I know you're seeing this reversed because I use the rear facing camera, um, but yeah, so there is always enough. And when I'm thinking about what we were talking about with the hive or the tribe or the collective energy, is that some of us get fearful that if I'm doing my individual work and I'm focused on my individual tasks and my life goals and my life purpose and my soul mission, that somehow that focus is going to take away from the hive or the tribe or my people. And what you need to remember is that in focusing on those things, we get again that collective abundance. I'm going to flip back into my notes and find the exact words. Okay, because when we work hard on our individual goals, we create a community that generates abundance. And so by you focusing in on your goals, you're generating more that can then support your tribe and your people in their deal, in their life purpose, in their life mission, and it becomes very supportive, synergistic. I don't love the word synergistic, but that's what's coming up. And so I'm going to trust that that word resonates with some of you. We're also going to take a quick peek at the guidebook and pull out one or two sentences about koi fish spirit. So the koi fish grows big within a small pond, and it reminds us that within each of us lies the potential for prosperity. And so again, this comes from you focusing on your purpose and trusting that the more you focus on your purpose, the greater your prosperity grows. And when your prosperity grows and increases, you can support more and more people in your tribe. And so the message is to generate wealth from within with deliberate intention. No matter how small your pond may seem, there is abundance everywhere if you choose to see it. Okay. And so the next card that is supporting today's message, I just got a little smile on my face. It says, Dear Spirit, bring a gentle touch. And isn't she pretty and sweet? I just kind of want to give you guys a moment to check her out because she has such a sweet softness to her. Bring a gentle touch. And so as I tie the cards and the message together today, being focused on your individual goals and your individual tasks this week does not mean you need to bring a hammer and start crushing the crap out of things or bulldozing your way through or exerting your will. You can still have a softness and a kindness in your heart and in your energy as you approach your goals this week. And this is really, guys, what I'm hearing is like, this is really for this week. Now, again, if you're watching the replay after the week of April 22nd, it's cool because it just means you're meant to apply this information to the week that you are having. So as you bring a gentle touch, I want to take a quick peek in the guidebook about bringing the gentle touch into your week. Okay, because it says to be gentle and diplomatic when dealing with others. So again, we've got our individual, and then our collective. So as you are working with your collective, your hive, your tribe, whether this is coworkers or family members or friendships or roommates or whatever it is, have some diplomacy and be mindful of the words that you choose. So remember that you can be confident in your role or your deal while you show kindness, compassion, and respect to others. So while you hold yourself to very high standards, and that's lovely, and you may even hold other people to very high standards, to also have that place in your heart that reminds you that you and the people in your lives are human. And that means sometimes we're going to fumble or drop the ball or mess up or not quite contribute to the hive energy to our fullest potential. And that doesn't make you or them a failure. And so to have some kindness this week as you are like full on striving and creating and getting shiz done, be kind to the people in your life and be kind to yourself. And it's going to be an amazing, magical week. Okay, guys, I'm hearing that today's messages are complete. Remember, after the live video is over, you can watch the replay and I will post where you can subscribe to my newsletter. I love it when the wind chimes come in. You can subscribe to my newsletter to get a little bit more information about duality, to get the replay of Monday messages. And when you do subscribe to my newsletter, you get a free mini reading session. So it's like win-win. How awesome is that? I hope you guys have a fabulous, beautiful day. Thanks for watching, and I am going to see you next Monday for another episode of Monday Messages. Have a great week. I love you guys so much, and I appreciate you being here. See you again soon. Bye.